So we chose the protein REST, and when we plugged it into Molecular Flipbook, this is what REST looks like when it's not interacting or binding to any other proteins. And we're actually going to focus on the story, so we have a PowerPoint. So REST is a gene-regulating protein that is active in the brains of developing fetuses and is responsible for turning off genes that are involved in brain cell death and turning on genes that help neurons respond to stress. REST stays active in fetuses' brains until progenitor cells are ready to differentiate into functional mature neurons, so when the baby's brain is developed. Then REST turns off in the brain but stays active elsewhere in the body. Recently, researchers at Harvard found that REST turns back on in the brain later in life. If you think about it, it makes sense. REST is most active when the human brain is vulnerable. This is when a fetus's brain is developing and a loss of neurons would be devastating, and when the brain is aging and is exposed to large amounts of stress and aggregated or misfolded proteins. These researchers also found a direct correlation between the amount of REST in the brain at death and Alzheimer's disease. In patients that had died of or with Alzheimer's disease, REST levels in the brain were significantly lower than those who had no forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's. So why are REST levels so low in some people and not others? Well, REST production is activated when stressed neurons send signals to one another. When this happens, REST is made in the cytosol of the cell and has to travel to the nucleus in order for it to do its job. What researchers found in the Alzheimer's patients is that REST was in fact made in the cytosol, but it was diverted on its way to the nucleus. It went through autophagy and eventually got destroyed and never reached the nucleus. Currently, the research team at Harvard is working on a way to turn this find into a cure. They think that if they can activate the stress resistance gene network with drugs, it might be possible to intervene in the disease quickly and early on. They are currently using mice that they engineered to lack REST only in the brain. These mice were okay as young adults, but as they got older, the neurons started to die in the same place as in Alzheimer's disease, the hippocampus and the cortex. So how are these findings going to be useful for those fighting the disease? Well, until this discovery, Alzheimer's research had been focused on removing or preventing the proteins known as amyloid beta and tau tangles that form during Alzheimer's disease. However, this study revealed that REST is responsible for turning off the genes that promote the synthesis of these plaques and tangles. So in a way, REST is actually responsible for amyloid beta plaques and tau tangles. So while this finding isn't going to be the end of a long search for a cure, it does offer a new place to start and hope for future generations that are fighting the disease.